Religion hasn't always been popular with the Cuban government. Decades after the revolution, attending church regularly or becoming a priest was closely scrutinized.
But with the visit of John Paul II, Cubans started to see changes with the church. And as Local 10's Hatzovella explains, those changes are evident with a new wave of interest in the priesthood.
Javier Chang is the eldest of the group at 48. Chang has been a catechist a long time, so this was a natural next step. So many Cuban adults are wanting to come back to the church, some as old as 60, he says, asking for the Catholic sacraments. And for Chang, that's part of the inspiration in becoming a priest. At one point, Chang was married and has an adult son. At first, he had doubts, but it's been a rewarding experience.
Soy de una familia católica.
At 23, this is the youngest of the group and comes from a religious family. He left the university to become a priest.
Él te llama a cualquier edad.
God, he says, calls you at any age. And while he does miss regular life, this is the new reality for him, an important time in Cuban religious history. But it wasn't always easy.
Yo incluso no podía hacer la señal de la cruz porque enseguida me reprendía.
29-year-old Daniel Lasso remembers a time when he could not do the sign of the cross. His military father would not allow religion in the home.
Juan Pablo II abrió muchas cosas.
But at 5 years old, he was energized by Pope John Paul II, his visit, and the small literature Lazo took home.
Mi madre y mi hermana y mi mamá se echó a llorar.
Fast forward to his ordination, where his mother cried because he had kept it a secret for fear of what she would say.
I think love is really sort of the key to this life as well.
Father Gilbert Walker, an American priest based here in Havana, has been a witness to the changing religious life in Cuba.
More young men since Pope John Paul II's visit have been interested in the priesthood, I think, and see it as a viable option.
A couple years ago, Cuba became home to a new San Carlos seminary built to deal with a rise of interest in the priesthood. Right now, about 85 men across the island are getting ready to become priests. From the time he was a little boy in Camagüey, 31-year-old Darel Fernandez had a desire to serve. The challenge for a new priest, he says, is how to explain to the rest of Cubans Christ and the church is the way to go. I'm Hatzovella, Local 10 News, Havana.